Welcome to Season 3 of Malevolent Autopsy. I'm your host, Queen. I use she, her pronouns, and I am so excited to be here with you all. Now, let me warn you, the show contains major spoilers for everything in Malevolent as of the day this episode is published, so if you are not caught up, I'm not liable. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to ask my lovely co-host, what part of Arthur's body are you betting on getting injured this week?
Howdy, hello, Vol Control here. I use he, him pronouns, and this week I'm betting on... Well, Arthur won't have a body next week, so I wonder how hurt he can get in the waylay, I guess.
I'm so excited. Okay, will you remind our public listeners what we just heard?
Yes, I would be happy to. We are here at the end of part 59, the last 20 minutes, chapter 295. It turned out that our certainty not to tell Kane about the manager didn't really matter. All he needed was for Arthur to consider it. Once Arthur has the last Nyarlathotep top of mind, Kane just reaches right on in there and starts rustling around in Arthur's poor old attic. Kane does his predictable speech about the predictability of humans, and Arthur gets his shining moment of triumph. They call on Lilith, and she performs the impressive killing blow. Then they have to consider what happens in the aftermath. Lilith starts to explain something about the Blackstone's effects if the manager is the last Nyarlathotep, but John interrupts. A lighter clicks in the distance. Of course, Kane had yet another trick up his sleeve. He reveals that he did a little switcheroo on Arthur, and now we know the purpose of the coin. Cheeky bastard. Kane and Lilith have a little family squabble about letting go, which culminates in Kane saying he's going to let his vengeance go. And off he trots to go find the waylay and turn it upside down to find his better half. Things are tense between Lilith and Arthur in the wake of their failure. Arthur accuses Lilith of being nothing more than a monster, mentioning his parents as one of her countless victims. She reveals the real reason she killed his parents, to save them from Kane. Arthur doesn't believe her, but John does. Regardless, they need to get their heads on straight. Lilith can't get to the waylay, but Arthur can. It's a last-ditch effort, but it's all they've got. Lilith lays out a new plan. She will go to the obelisk and lie in wait. On her signal, the manager will activate it, luring Kane's attention. Before then, Arthur will plant the lighter on Kane, and then Lilith will trap him. Now, to execute the plan and Arthur's life. Arthur is certain that this is the moment Ferrot meant. This will hurt, but this too shall pass.
That was such a crazy 19-minute chapter.
Yeah, I tried to keep the summary as short as possible, but so many important things happened that I felt remiss in not mentioning, at least in passing.
Yeah, I mean, so much happened, and I feel like this is kind of the experience we had similar to the end of season 4, where the chapters were like...
Yeah, I was just thinking
20 fucking minutes long each.
Yeah, and that was right after we had joined the Patreon, and so we were just like, oh my gosh, a 20-minute chapter, and then the next week we were like, oh my gosh, another 20-minute chapter. And then it was this like creeping dread because everything just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we were like, oh shit, it's another 20-minute chapter, oh god.
Yeah, I'm shocked that it took this long to get a 20-minute chapter. I've been expecting all of season 6 to be like quite chunky, but I think it's going great so far.
Yeah, and I'm amazed that I'm amazed this isn't longer than 20 minutes because a lot of things happen. A lot of plot happens.
It's crazy what you can cram into an audio drama when you don't have to write narration. Like, truly,
true, yeah.
The way the transcripts look, it's so interesting. As a person who writes pretty frequently, a scene can take weeks to months to get through if you're writing it like chunk by chunk. But with Malevolent, it's just dialogue and soundscaping, and so there's not a lot of like arduous having to describe what the building looks like, having to describe facial expressions, having to describe intonation. You just speak it and it happens. It's very cool.
Right. Well, I guess we were without John for so long that I'm like, we haven't gotten a lot of John narration in a while. It's like, yeah, because he hasn't been
He
around.
hasn't been around.
But I love that Harlan can still pull off John describing this really cool, killing blow between Lilith and Cain and make it sound like John is odd. It's not like shoehorned in that he describes it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, listen to the fucking commentaries. Listen to the commentaries. Everybody should be listening to the commentaries. Harlan talks about early Johnologues where he would describe the monsters that they're fighting. The one that he specifically goes on for a little while about is the spider, the giant spider in the hotel. He talks about how it was really difficult to get John to describe this thing, but also not go overboard with it, because how much, like, realistically, first of all, why is he bothering to describe it at all? They're running from it. It's gonna kill them. But he has gotten so much better. Like, the improvement over the course of the podcast in the way that he's able to weave in John describing things and not make it feel like I'm trying to show you what this looks like.
Right.
It's very good.
Yeah, and I even liked that there was sort of there was a joke about that. I don't remember if it was in season 1 or season 2, but like, one of the Monster of the Week episodes, John is like describing the horrors and Arthur's like, "You're not helping."
Yes.
Stop.
Yes, and I think they poke at that a little bit with Yorick too when they first get him.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get into carrots and sticks for this episode. Vol, what was your carrot?
It has to be the literal physical tussle between Cain and Arthur. It's so small, it's so human that they're like squabbling like physically with each other. Compared to all of the horrible things that Cain has done, it's so interesting and funny and entertaining and satisfying that when it comes down to this like crucial interaction, they're just literally like squabbling on the floor. The first time I listened to it, I was so in it that I wasn't paying that much attention, but the second time and the third time I re-listened to it, I was like, is that the sound of Arthur punching Cain? Is that how he breaks it up?
I hope so. I hope that's what that is, because I heard it too.
Yeah, it made me laugh so hard. Again, like, Cain is this eldritch being with so much incredible power who has killed every other version of himself across multiverses except for one. And he has a fucking fist fight
with Arthur fucking Lester.
I didn't know that that's what I wanted in my finale, my Malevolent finale. I should have put that on my bingo board.
I think it's so funny because the idea of that idea is so good, and I never thought it would happen. And I can also just picture Cain thinking it's fun. Like, he's not...
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
He knows this is fully unnecessary. He could stop any of this at any time. He's just having fun.
Yeah, this is enrichment for him, actually.
I love that. Yeah, that was a good one.
And also, I just have to shout out the incredible, like, pin drop of the lighter clicking when Cain makes his reappearance. Oh, man. All the sound design for the entire part, but, like, that little haunting, creeping dread of another lighter clicking in the distance. Oh, so good.
So good. Yeah, I loved that. What was your stick?
Oh, my stick is one that I think it was shared amongst many, many of the patrons. Lilith started to explain the significance of the Blackstone's power and there only being one Nyarlathotep. And then John interrupts her. And I mean, he had to interrupt her, but Harlan Guthrie, you drive me crazy when you do that. Ugh.
Yeah, the creeping dread for me was hearing John say wait multiple times and nobody listening to him. And I was like, oh no, what happened?
Yeah, but when we listened to it the first time together, both of us were like, yeah, Cain's dead, sure, what happens next? How is he gonna come back?
Yeah. It was too easy.
Yeah, it was way too easy, but that didn't detract at all from the excitement and anticipation of like maybe that did work, like
Right.
maybe it was that easy, and we thought that Kane was going to be the like, you know, final boss, but actually now we're going to like shift gears and have to deal with the manager's situation or something.
Yes, like the feeling wasn't so much, oh, Kane's not dead. It was, there's still a threat somewhere. That isn't the end.
Yes.
And I didn't know where that threat was going to come from. I also thought Kane was going to show up again, but I had no idea it was going to be so soon.
Yes.
He died and came back in the same fucking chapter.
Within like not even 5 minutes.
Yeah. It was pretty great.
And then I also had one other little stick. Again, Lilith related. Lilith says, like, she's just so forthright about, like, I picked you as my favorite, in part because your parents were loyal followers, but partly because you were a good fit. In what way?
Yeah.
In what way was little baby Arthur Lester primed to be a good fit for Lilith's purposes?
That haunts me. I mean, that and the fact that she says in part, like partly.
Yes.
What's the other part?
What are the other reasons? And there's so much in this episode that I at first didn't realize what Lilith was saying Arthur's like purpose in being her favorite was, but then I put it together that like she knew that whoever her favorite was would draw Kane's attention. But like, but that still doesn't answer like why is Arthur Lester catnip for Kane? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a fucking mystery, and we don't have much longer
to answer all the mysteries.
Ah.
Pi in the chat says, why couldn't anyone be made to fit? And yeah, like, if you're picking someone from birth, do you know their predestined fate? Do you know the person they're going to become?
Yeah.
I don't. And Nukuome says, this baby can endure so much trauma. Lilith, probably. What was your carrot this week, Queen?
So I had a carrot, and then I changed my mind when I remembered the rest of the episode. So I'll read kind of both of my carrots. The theater that Kane let happen in the false death. The fact that he just fully... He did all of that for us. Like, that was truly just a performance for us. The light, the explosion, the screaming, it was fully an act. And he was like, I'm gonna make this big and good so they think they got some shit on me. But he also knew he was gonna immediately appear right away. So it's not like he had to fool them. So
no, I was just gonna say that literally no reason except he's a drama queen. He's a theater kid.
He's the best. He's the fucking best. He's so good. He's hilarious.
Yeah, this episode was so fun. Like, there was... I know the stakes are really high, but I couldn't help but have so much fun with Kane.
This is the climactic battle moment that I was looking forward to, and I didn't realize I was going to get another one to look forward to, so I'm very excited about the next part. But my baby carrot, that was my baby carrot. My actual carrot is the idea of the final battle taking place in the Waylay is sick as fuck, actually.
Fuck yes.
I got goosebumps. I was jumping up and down in my chair. I was so excited because, like, I'm sure you heard me if you listened to our Waylay episode, but I love meta shit. I love nods to the audience. I love all of that. I also am so excited about the concept of like what that's gonna look like in an audioscape. How are we gonna know we're in the Waylay? Is there gonna be fun music? Is there like I'm just
oh my god, is Vic Tanetta gonna serenade the final battle?
That's the other thing. Harlan has this opportunity to bring back any character from anything he's ever done in this last part.
Oh,
because
that's so true.
All of them could be in the Waylay. So anybody from the Call of Cthulhu games, anyone who's died in Malevolent, anybody, any NPC that didn't get enough screen time, all those people could come back.
I didn't even think about that. Oh my god. The chat is screaming about Parker being possibly there, but I have to say that my first, well, I guess my first thought was also Parker, but my second thought was was immediately, is this how we actually meet Anna Stanzik in the end?
Oh man.
Okay, okay. Are you ready for my big conspiracy theory grackle for this week?
Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, Lilith said that the obelisk is hidden closer than she would like to admit. And I want to say that one of the times when Kane mentions Charlie, he says that he's closer than you might think at the threshold. What if Charlie's with the fucking obelisk?
That was something that I think I had proposed a while ago, but I don't think I mean, okay, maybe because Charlie does have a connection to the Blackstone, but
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
but I feel like why would you why well no because we determined that he must have talked to Kane because they're all
Yeah,
calling it
that's
the
true.
threshold. And if he's talked to
Yeah.
Kane, then Kane would have the obelisk and everything. So I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Hmm. Hmm. My mind's buzzing. Much to think about. Much to
Yes.
think about.
Yes.
Anyways, we're not even done with carrots and sticks. What was your stick this week, Queen?
Letting go of his vengeance is probably worse. I
Yeah.
think Kane being like, I'm gonna let go of my petty vengeance shit. I was like, I don't think that's a good thing. I know it technically it is, but when the bad guy does a good guy thing, it usually means it's really bad actually. And you don't want
Yeah.
them to do the alternative.
Yeah, I have to say I love the continuing almost redefinition of
Yeah.
what letting go means and who is using it and in what connotation. Oh, I think that that is such a cool aspect of this part of the story and the way that Harlan's writing it. And I'm obsessed with Kane being fixated on twisting the idea or the words let go to fit his definition or to suit his needs. It's so cool.
Because that is a conversation we're always having in poll chat and all around the server about what let go really means and how to
Yeah,
apply it. And it's true, it's a very, very vague thing to tell somebody to do, and it will completely change how they act on it depending on what they're going through, how they interpret it, who they are.
exactly.
And so it's been fascinating to have conversations about what you think let go means for Arthur and when he should use
Yeah,
that advice. I'm still sticking to my guns, and I think that's not going to be a choice, and that it's fully going to have to be Arthur in narrative being like, I need to let go of XYZ. So
right,
I'm excited to
right.
see where that goes. But yeah, I don't like that Kane is letting go of things. I don't. No, thank you.
He also like just admitted I was losing my mind when Kane himself admits you're like catnip to me.
Oh my
It
God.
hurt killing you in England. And I know that the reason why this level of like honesty or even familiarity from Kane now it's so impactful because Harlan has used him so sparingly. I think I said this during the wager, like during the end of season 5, finally learning Kane's ultimate goal, his ultimate vision, really gave so much nuance and built his character so much, but it wouldn't have been as impactful if we had gotten more of him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a variable that we all can have different opinions on, but ultimately I think it's right for the way that the story is structured. There are already so many things that I would love to have expanded on that don't get expansion. So I think if we had
Yes.
even more Kane, it would be like a little bit too weighted in one side or the other. And I think he knew we were going to get a lot of Kane toward the end because he is the
Right.
antagonist. So
Yeah.
obviously, people just had to wait and be patient. We'll get him a bunch of more times.
Yeah. Yeah. And, having that restraint as a writer to not indulge in the really fun characters or the really fun scenes, to like let the story breathe, to let it build up. Oh, man.
That's why I'm not a writer. Fuck that.
I totally understand why Harlan is so eager this close to the end to just like get it all out. He's so ready.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Harlan made this post on December 13th, and this is kind of the breakdown for what the end of Malevolent Season 6 is going to look like. He said, I wanted to give a comprehensive breakdown of how these final weeks are going to roll out. Then there was a End of Malevolent video on Patreon that he suggested watching, which I won't talk about because it is still a Patreon post, so if you want to watch that, you should. The next chapters will roll out in expected form with a few changes. Chapter 295 will be released this Sunday, January 14th at 7 p.m. EST as a live drop. It's possible the last 4 chapters will also be live drops, so keep an eye out. Remember, sometimes the live drops skip or distort when live streaming. Refresh the page. He goes into the technical stuff about that. The following chapter dates may change, but they will be roughly around these days. They may get bumped up to Sunday if we're excited, and very well may be live drops as well. Live drops are more annoying to some, but preserve the mystery of the episodes, and in these final days, I prefer for everyone to enjoy at the same time, more or less. You can always listen after. Chapter 296 is going to be released on Monday, the 22nd of December, 297, Monday, the 29th, 298, Monday, the 5th, and Chapter 299, Monday, the 12th of January. However, Chapter 300 will not be released following the same schedule. Chapter 299's choice will be seamlessly integrated into Part 60 and will be live streamed in its entirety on YouTube for everyone to enjoy at the same time on January 30th. Time to be decided. Chapter 300 will then be released for patrons after, for continuity's sake and for clean, even numbers. I won't have the time or link for part 50 until, I think he meant 60, until I finish making the episode, but the link to part 60 should be available to save/schedule around January 15th, giving you plenty of time to join us on the 30th. After that, Malevolent Series 2 will begin. Its plot, characters, and content are still being kept under wraps, but I promise you will enjoy it. Series 2 will begin right away on February 2nd for patrons and continue in the same format with weekly releases being edited into public parts. However, the public release of the first 5 chapters of Series 2, its Part 1, will not be released until April 1st, 2026. Probably. All this Series 2 stuff is subject to change on my whims, but this is my current plan. So, a lot of stuff is happening.
We have a schedule.
We have a schedule. We have a schedule and I could cry.
Although I will say we are recording Autopsy on Sunday, December 21st at 3 p.m. my time, which is 5 hours earlier than we usually do it, because we weren't sure if Harlan was gonna decide to shift up and release the next chapter this evening or not.
We're very nervous about Harlan deciding that he wants to do things early or on a whim, and so we're trying to kind of shift Autopsy to be early in the day or like as soon as possible so that we don't have to pretend we didn't hear the next chapter before we record. We actually try not to listen to the chapter if it's out by the time we record, so yeah. It's just agonizing for the people who come to listen live.
Right, and that has only happened once. I was talking with some people on the Big Invictus Discord server last night, and we've only had to abstain from listening to a chapter before recording Autopsy once. But I was also joking that after, a recent episode where the poll closed during Autopsy, the only thing left on the bingo card is for Harlan to drop an episode during Autopsy.
Oh my God, I don't know what I would fucking do.
Our live audience just disappears. Everybody dashes out the door.
I would just stream it at that point. We would just all listen to it on Autopsy together.
Fair. Yeah, no, that's true.
I think that if that's going to happen, it'll happen in the next 4 weeks. So
yeah, it's true.
The last thing I want to say before we get into voice subs is I was right. And Kane was affected by the Blackstone. And yeah. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, you were fucking right. See, you can theorize and be right. And isn't it so sweet?
It's great.
Doesn't it make up for all the times you were wrong?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. But it does feel real fucking good. I mean, then again, it's very much like the minute I'm right about something, I go, well, it's not hard to put 2 and 2 together. I'm sure that was kind of supposed to be obvious, but whatever.
No, yeah, I mean, when you're right, yeah, that's how it feels. You're like, well, okay, yeah. Maybe it wasn't that big brained.
Maybe it was just set up.
No, but I think it was big brain because I hadn't thought about that. I thought he was hiding his identity rather than
that's true.
Disfigurement.
Yeah, and I think that comes too from I'm one of the people who did not see the twist of John being the King in Yellow coming until it was that part of the show was released. So like I did not, season 1, I was like, gee, who's this King in Yellow guy? And then when John was like, I am the King in Yellow, I was like, oh really?
Oh my God.
Crazy. So I'm very gullible. I do fall for everything. But that makes my enjoyment of everything way more fun.
Oh, to be in Queen's mind and be totally surprised by really obvious twists.
I fall for every plot twist. It's so much fun. It's so great. I gasp in theaters when nobody else is surprised. And it's so much fun. I have to say, if you're a writer and you're writing something with a plot twist and you want to feel good about your plot twist, bring it to me, because I will not see it coming. Don't care how obvious it is. I'm really bad at that.
I mean, sometimes even when Queen has like the full outline summary rundown and she reads some of my work, she still is like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. And I'm like, I literally told you that was happening.
Listen, it's a beautiful thing to live in a mind like mine. I have so much fun and I'm not required to know shit.
That's very true.
Keep expectations low, folks. You'll have a lot more fun that way.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
Let's get into these voice subs, shall we?
Let's do.
Hi guys, this is Friska Friskito, she, her. Hello. When I pause at a possibility, the last thing I expect to be is correct. God damn it. Last autopsy, I mentioned that the request itself to consider, if they should tell him about where the manager is, was suspicious. And literally I was like, oh, I don't want to assume Kane could read minds or anything. And not a few hours later, I am equal parts vindicated and horrified. Earworms and all, that sounded visceral. I think that's actually my carrot for this episode, the sound design. Kane's overly theatrical death scene, and just like the mental image of him sneaking away to play with a decoy in the corner of the stage. Like, you could hear where everyone was at that moment. The screeching of the strings, like how it sounded like something was about to break. I love that so much. And of course, there's Pharaoh's goodbye, which stabbed me 52 times in the chest. But this too shall pass, I guess. Goddamn. I'm still all over the place. I know the plan didn't work out. But I'm actually really pumped for what's coming next. I really, truly trust in Arthur and John getting through this and in us helping them. So, we can do this. We can do this.
Thank you, Friska, for your submission. We can do this.
Yeah, I love Friska always comes with so much optimism about moving forward, even while recognizing the horrors and the failures of the plans.
I love that. I love Friska. I love your attitude about everything. You're such a sweet person. Thank you for submitting. I love your submissions.
Congratulations, Friska, on being right on your part and fixating on the fact that Kane wanted them to just consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good call. And and you being worried about Kane reading minds, I just have to I can't stop thinking about this, so I have to share it. I was not expecting Kane to go full Dio Brando. Shout out to my JoJo Bizarre Adventure fans out there, and just stick his hand into Arthur's head. For those who don't know Dio and JoJo, Dio at one point was like a vampire, but instead of biting people, he would just like stick his fingers in their neck and drink their blood that way, and it wouldn't leave a mark. It was interesting.
That's fascinating.
Again, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah. It does what it says on the tin.
That's fair.
Hello, it's Autumn again. I don't have anything coherent to say, but I'm contractually obligated to scream about Kane, but it is 3 a.m, so instead... Anyways, this chapter is everything I wanted. We may not have gotten the dance, but hey,
Kane straddled Arthur, so it's close enough in my books, and Gregor Kane. I thought he couldn't get any more fucked up, but boy am I glad I was wrong. Get jokered, bitch. I know he's awful and terrible and horrible, but God, when I thought he was gonna die, I was close to tears, even though his screams are metal as fuck, because that is my wife over there. It figures he'd pull something like this with a lighter, though. Cody's been on the brain recently, and the moment he pulled out another coin, I knew something fishy was going on. I mean, what's in my pocket? Truly an unanswerable question indeed. Kane sure did do his research. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the 8-ball that's going to come from this. I'm rooting for Ice Ice, baby. Anyways, thanks for listening to me yap. Have a good autopsy.
Thank you, Autumn, for your submission. I loved your quiet scream that kind of sounded like a growl in my headphones.
Thank you for pre-muting your own screen. Appreciate that.
I do find it so fascinating that Kane tossed them that coin, and I remember even in that moment thinking, why? Why the fuck do they need your coin back? What are you planting on them right now? And it was so much simpler than I would ever have anticipated.
Oh, absolutely. But it was such a good trick.
It really was.
I not only love that Arthur canonically mixing up his left and his right. Oh my God. Became such a pain point at this high stakes moment.
God. I don't know. I would love to one day have somebody ask Harlan if he did that in season 1 on purpose, like for authenticity, or if he thought it was a funny joke, or if it was just something that he thought would be interesting to have Arthur struggle with that.
I do wonder, like, was it a bit? Was it sort of supposed to be a gag? Like, Arthur is so panicked in the moment that he mixes up his left and his right? Or did Harlan decide, no, this is a thing now? Yeah, I don't know.
I would love to know the origins of mixing up left and right. Yeah, this was such a wild chapter. I can't believe so much happened in it.
Yeah. Do you think that we're gonna get an 8-ball?
No.
Because usually if we do, following Arthur's death, it usually happens like right after.
I think the 8-balls happen when Arthur gets revived, and Arthur is not getting revived. I think Arthur is staying dead forever. That's my theory.
I'm curious.
Autopsy, Rose of Envy, she, her, and there's been some things I've been thinking about as I've been doing a re-listen and we've caught up to the most recent chapter, right? So one of the things that I did a sort of analysis on was moments that Fro spoke, or what we perceived to be Fro was speaking. So in part 19, Arthur has that dream in the pits with the beach, and there's a girl that says run. It's pretty clear. In Coda, there is a girl that says you're gonna die. Again, very clear. And then faintly, in part 23, when Arthur is outside the Larson mansion, there's a girl that says goodbye. And when I did this analysis, I had many thoughts about, the tone of voice, how old the voice was perceived to be. But now that we've got this moment of Fro in the whispers, which I couldn't hear super clearly, but saying it needs to be colder. And at the very end, now that Arthur is under the water and in the water and ingesting the water, and Fro says goodbye, Daddy. And that's just something I'm thinking about. I have no clear conclusions on. I won't say I'm excited to see what's next, but I certainly am curious to see how this all pans out.
Thank you so much for your submission, Rose. God.
It's so good to hear from you, Rose, about a tragic dead child. It's interesting how many times we have heard Fro. When you count it all up like that, even though we've heard her voice before, it just feels like we haven't heard from her because she has been this, dead figure in the narrative. But her voice has come through for Arthur when he is at some of his lowest points.
Yeah, and I personally thought that the way Fro's second drowning happening in the narrative was handled was beautiful. The whole concept of like Arthur trying to reassure her that he's there, even though there's nothing he can do to save her.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
oh man, woof.
And then for Faro to guide him and to say goodbye to him
Ugh.
is sort of like her letting go.
Faro's goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pai Shiher, that's a grinner. Grinners are drones created when the obelisk is exposed to human blood to serve Azathoth's will. Even Cain is not immune to Azathoth's gifts. But he actually should be. The black stone is unique in that it is the only stone made from the same material as the obelisk and possesses similar, if not identical, powers of grinnerdom. The grinners it creates treat Nyarlathotep as a representative of Azathoth. We have never seen the black stone be used beyond whatever Cain is doing with it, but we have seen the obelisk be used extensively in Game 2, by Nyarlathotep with no negative effect. Despite being inside of Antoine, we've never actually seen the black stone come in direct contact with human blood. Only the sickly pale liquid pooling in his chest. But it has come into contact with the blood coating Cain's hands. Grinners have only been human, but they've also only been created by human blood. The Nyarlathotep we met in Game 2 was content in his role. He was acting in accordance to Azathoth's will, as opposed to Cain, who is directly a threat to it. Is this his flesh fighting back? And if the manager had similar motives beyond waking Azathoth, would it do the same? The effects are permanent because he is not the last of his kind, and with the assumption that the manager is, it provides a unique benefit to the Blackstone. What benefit is there in impermanence?
Thank you, Pi.
I'm so grateful to have Pi to fill us in on some of the like Call of Cthulhu lore and places where we've seen Nyarlathotep and the obelisk and the Blackstone and its effects before, but it just makes me wonder. It just makes me ask more questions. I hadn't even considered the idea that the human blood on Cain's hands would activate the Blackstone and grinnerize him. I thought the blood was just aesthetic, you know?
Same. Dude, I thought like the blood was basically a permanent eldritch tattoo. I did not think it would like be real blood, but I guess it is.
Yeah. But is it human blood or is it the blood of other Nyarlathoteps?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what happens when you kill a god, right? Like, stained forever with their blood, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Or you know, instead of, like, having a light lunch, he just goes and, like, murders humans for fun, you know? It's part of his schedule.
Well, I think it's also interesting because those Call of Cthulhu games were years and years and years ago. And if you asked me as a writer to reference things I did years and years and years ago without going back to look at them or listen to them, I would screw up over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's no fucking way. So I also think that there's room for the rules to be bent or changed. And I'm interested to see how looped in all of the lore and mythos really is when it comes to Cain, because Cain has this habit of breaking the rules all the fucking time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that makes me wonder if it was anyone. I mean, like Pi was saying, like, did Cain end up suffering the effects of the Blackstone because it was like the flesh rebelling because Cain has intentions to go against Azathoth's will?
Yeah. Man, just too many. Pi. I have so many questions about Malevolent as it is, but Pi adds about 30% more every single time I listen to them.
Yeah, yeah, I that's one of the reasons I usually save their submissions for last is because either we're gonna have a bunch of questions that we don't have answers to, or you and I are just gonna stare slack-jawed into the distance because it's so over our
Yeah, and I'm
heads.
kind of in that stare into the middle distance with this one. This is so crazy and tough. I don't know, man.
I'm so curious what Lilith was gonna say about what would happen if it was the last Nyarlathotep and the Blackstone. Because if Grinners are like avatars who serve Nyarlathotep, who serves Azathoth's will, I no, I don't have anything.
No.
I just
All I can say is I think that Arthur is done with being alive and normal. Like, I don't think he's gonna go back
I
to.
think he was done being normal a long time ago.
What I mean is,
I think as soon as he got dumped in the Dreamlands, it was like, nah.
I think I could see Malevolence ending in this way to be kind of a Arthur doing something that is otherworldly for the rest of his
Yeah.
time rather than
Yeah.
like having a cottage on a hill in England or some shit.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're getting a South Downs cottage, guys. I don't think that's happening in Malevolent.
And I also think it's a way to keep them together, like him and John, I mean, and it's a way to have Arthur in other media without any issues of continuity because it just takes place
True.
after his journey. And if he permanently lives in an eldritch plane or space, then he's probably gonna be coming up in other places, maybe, because it's possible.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, and also, wasn't it Nikki who suggested that maybe that Arthur and John were going to become like eldritch
Multiverse.
investigators
Yeah.
for the multiverse and stuff that was mentioned in The Strange, I believe?
I think the longer this goes on, the more I think Nikki's right. And I think they're going to be some kind of like duo that helps other people around the multiverse.
That would be so rad. You know what? Good for them. That would be an awesome ending for Arthur and John, I think.
I'd be so down with that. I'd be so excited for that. I mean, that means series 2 could be like just the cases they take on.
That's true. It could be. Yeah, I'm wondering if Arthur and John are going to be the protagonists for series 2. I don't know.
I don't know. If I had to pick, I'd say no. I think they're going to make appearances. I think they may even be major side characters, but I don't think they're going to be the main characters. But at the same time, I don't want to say that it couldn't happen because I think he
No.
probably still loves being with John and Arthur. I do think maybe they'll make appearances in series 2. They may even
Yeah.
start us off in series 2.
Right, right. Well, and the other thing that I have to wonder is, Arthur and John are voices that Harlan can pull out like as easy as breathing, And I wonder how challenging it would be to find new protagonist voices.
Yeah, and AK Trash Panda says, my money is on an alternate timeline branching off from the choice in season 2 or 3, mostly because
Ooh.
Arthur is Harlan's guy, and I don't think he's ready to let him go. Also, I don't know if he'd put another entity in someone else's head, and I don't see how this show's format works without that seeing eye entity design. And I call this out specifically because I also have been wondering how he's going to
Yeah.
make the seeing eye entity thing work.
Yeah, but I think that is a good point because I think that part of the reason for that in a way when Harlan started was because it felt like it fit really well to have that be the narrative element. But I feel like Harlan has grown
Yeah.
so much as an artist as far as like soundscaping and audible visual storytelling that I think that he might not need that narrative element, especially because there are other audio drama. Well, he doesn't listen to other audio dramas, but anyways, from my own listening, I can attest that there are other narrative free audio dramas that rely solely on soundscaping. I'm thinking specifically of Red Valley that
Ugh.
do it so fucking well. Like you're not missing anything
No.
because the soundscaping carries the story and makes you feel like you're there with the characters.
Well, and I think too that it probably, from what we hear of how Harlan talks about making Malevolent and how it started, it really was truly the beginning of, I want to make a story, but how do I make it so that people see everything I see in my head?
Right.
And over time, we've really watched that scale back. John doesn't describe even a fraction of what he used to describe. And
Yeah,
we
that's
still
very true.
we still get it all. But I also think some of that is reliant on, like, the way he even talked about it in the season 5 interview, which is he has Arthur and John do something once and then he never needs to explain it again because we know that
Right.
that's how it works. So some of
Yeah.
it is the fact that we built up infrastructure to know, okay, Arthur has walked around a room enough times that he can just do it and we don't need to hear John say, okay, now put your hand on the wall, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so some of it is that. I also agree he's definitely grown as a creator and probably feels more confident than he did when he started out and
Yeah.
doesn't need to lean on the same concept anymore.
Yeah. Harlan has done an audio drama without a voice in the main character's head. In Divisor, Sun doesn't go around describing what he's doing. You know, we rely on the soundscaping. There's a little bit of that with Dad, with this AI intelligence that is like describing what he's doing sometimes or asking why he's doing things sometimes, but it's not as omnipresent as John is in Malevolent. So yeah, I mean, maybe I feel like that would be enrichment for Harlan to do an audio drama where it doesn't rely on any sort of narrative element like that.
I am not saying it can't happen or that I could be wrong. I'm always fucking wrong. But
no, Queen, you're never wrong. This week proved it. You're never wrong. You were right this week.
But I do think that it's also in the way that I live my life, it's way easier to expect something wildly different or something to be a complete 180 change because
complete 360 change. Yeah.
180 change because that way it won't be hard to deal with later if I miss John or I miss Arthur. Anything can happen, and I know that he's already thinking about what he's going to do next because for spoiler alert for patrons, there's not going to be a gap between Malevolent Series 2 and the end of Season 6. So we're going to see right away what he's going to do.
Which is bonkers. Oh my God.
I'm thrilled.
It's so close. It's so close. I feel like we've gotten kind of past the like mourning or anxiety stage and now we're like, let's full steam ahead. Let's go with this finale.
I'm thrilled. I'm so ready. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be interesting because Harlan is actually going on vacation for a little bit in January, which is like the end of the show. So
good for him.
Yes,
good for him.
And he totally deserves it. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be such an exciting last series of votes. I'm ready. I'm thriving.
Yep. Next week, first part of Part 60.
The end of Malevolent is nigh.
Oh my goodness.
All right, guys. I think we're going to close it out. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you all. For now, I will just say, remember, in the end, it's never about certainty. It's about making a choice and moving forward. Until next time, the horrors persist.
But so do we.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, of course, to Harlan Guthrie, the sole creator of Malevolent. Without his labor of love for a story he wants to tell, we wouldn't be here. To join the live recording, submit your own message, get in touch with me, and more, visit linktree/Malevolent Autopsy. The official Invictus Discord server is open to the public and includes a channel just for Malevolent Autopsy fans. We also have our own private, patrons-only channel. Finally, thank you to Mizra, Nikki, Vol Control, and everyone who has helped create and maintain Malevolent Autopsy. These friends are also volunteers who donate time and energy to help put together this love letter to Malevolent.